Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this Extreme Warfare Revenge series. Je m'appelle Andy, je m'appelle the Uncommentator, and in this video we're going to be finishing off the build to our April event, which is called Final Command. We've got 2 more shows to do before we get to that. And this is episode number... ons, I think it is, either ons or dos. Anyway, we'll quit the French and we'll instead focus on what we're going to be doing in this video, which, as I said, is finishing off the build to our April event. You can see there we're on Friday, the ons of Avril. We can't remember the French. I forgot, what's French for Friday? I forgot what it is now. Vendredi? Is it vendredi? Anyway, move on. Yeah, so we're on Friday the 11th of April. In reality, I'm recording this on the 22nd of May, so we are a few days away from, I think is it Memorial Day weekend in America? I don't know, I'm not American. But it's a few days away from Double or Nothing coming up this weekend. There'll be lots of other things going on as well. There's an NXT event, I think. There's something non-related to those. I'm sure there's a Best of the Super Juniors or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's not important. As I said, what is important is what we're doing in this video. And that is finishing the build off to this next event. Now, I have to say that I've not recorded for a while. So I'm trying to remember where we got up to with things. So we'll have a quick refresher when we get to the next show, which is going to be taking place on Monday, I think. The next event is going to be Disruption, coming up on Monday. So let's get on with it. Let's advance to that day. Anything fun happening? No, not at the minute. So yeah, I've not been. I've been absolutely works. Breaking my you-know-whats at the minute, so my recording schedule has gone to pieces a little bit, but I will try and keep this series ticking over for as long as I can. Having said that, I've got a feeling this series isn't going to go on much longer, although I do have some plans for after Final Command, so if this series does somehow continue, then hopefully we can see those out. Right, so here we are at Disruption. So before we do that booking, let's just have a quick recap of where we left off at the end of the last video. So as I said, got 2 more shows and then it's Final Command. So Final Command will take place in the next video. So let's just see where we left off. Yeah, so the last show was After Dark, so there wasn't really much going on actually, because After Dark's obviously quite a short show. Yeah, so Zicky Dice and Gable Steveson. Gable Steveson feuding, of course, with Chuck O'Neill. So he calls out Zicky Dice because he's angry with him for losing the tag team match, and then Zicky Dice beats him. I think Chuck O'Neill interfered in that from memory. Maki Itoh winding up Mina Shirakawa. And then we're just continuing the build to Adam Scherr and Omos' big grudge match, and with that video package, and then Shark Boy beat Chase Owens after EC3 refused to fight him. Bit more going on than that, but we'll do a full recap of the build to the event, probably at the end of the next, probably at the start of the next video, I should say. So let's finish off the Go Home episodes prior to Final Command. So the first one, the Go Home show, well, it's not the Go Home show, the Final Disruption, before Final Command, and we're going to kick things off with a debut, and I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to do a debut angle. And it's going to be, I think it's just going to be, do we do it as an ally? No, we don't do it as an ally. We'll do it as, we'll do it as a call out. We'll do it like that. And the debutant in question, I've got a few people to debut actually. The debutant in question, it's not going to be Soriano, that's the spoiler there. It's going to be Sean Morley. So if you don't know who Sean Morley is, he's better known probably as Val Venus. I think, in fact, in his wrestling career, certainly mainstream wrestling, he's only ever been known as Val Venus. And probably his real, I don't know, I think in TNA was he Sean Morley? Other than Chief Morley, I can't think what he was better known. But yeah, so, yeah, Val Venus is going to be debuting, and he's going to interrupt Shark Boy. So what would happen in this segment is, so Shark Boy would come out, he'd once again challenge EC3, and then Sean Morley would interrupt him and start talking a load of rubbish. So if you don't, so I think Sean Morley, since he retired, I mean, I don't go on X, I don't go on Twitter or anything, any rubbish like that, but I mean, if you do, good for you, but I don't. But yeah, I think he generally has opinions that a lot of people class as controversial. So what would happen is he'd interrupt Shark Boy, start giving his controversial opinions, if you like, and then that would end up leading to them to having a match. And again, Shark Boy accusing EC3 of bringing these rogue people into the company, like Patrick Clark, like Sean Morley, etc., etc. So that just keeps that ticking over. But again, the purifier of the locker room ends up in a fight with Sean Morley. Following that, we're going to have our first match of the night, and it's going to be between Viano 4 and Chuck O'Neill. Bit of a random match, and Viano 4 is going to win because Gable Stevenson interferes. So again, keeping that feud going. So the rivalry there, of course, is professional wrestling versus sort of MMA. Well, I say professional wrestling, amateur wrestling versus MMA, which is better sort of thing. Chuck O'Neill, a former MMA fighter, I thought it may still be one, I don't know actually. But obviously Gable Stevenson won an Olympic gold medal. And for by interference. No running after, we'll say Gable Stevenson continues attacking him. And that's of course to build to their match at Final Command. Next up we've got another match. It is Chris Dickinson taking on Bateman, not Derek. And Chris Dickinson is going to win once again for interference, because why not? Let's have interference. So Mina Shirakawa. So of course Mina Shirakawa besotted, if you like, with Chris Dickinson. So she's come out to help him, and he's starting to soften on her a little bit, but still a little bit wary because of course Shirakawa's association is with the Blacklist. So we'll say that. Yeah, we'll not do any of those. We'll just say there's no aftermath. But what would happen in the aftermath? Shirakawa would like jump up on Chris Dickinson and like wrap her legs around his waist and things and like punch the air celebrating, and he'd just kind of have a look on his face to say, "Thanks, but I'm still a bit uncomfortable by all this." So that's just to continue that sort of rivalry going. I mean, Shirakawa's sort of, I think I've said this before, but she's like the conscience of she keeps so. The Blacklist, Patrick Clark and Mandy Rose don't appear that often, but because Shirakawa keeps appearing, it reminds you that the Blacklist are there in the background. And then that would be reinforced with this segment. It's going to be an other angle. And it's going to be, I think she's calling someone, isn't it? So it wouldn't actually be Mina Shirakawa calling anybody. It would be Mina Shirakawa. You'd just see her backstage on the phone, and you just keep hearing her saying, "Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I know, I will listen." She just keeps apologising basically. So she's obviously getting told off. So it's inferring that it's Patrick Clark having a go at her for, like she'll say things like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll stick to the plan. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. I'm just trying, I am listening to you." But so she's apologising basically. So again, it's inferred that it's Patrick Clark and not it's the Blacklist, but she doesn't. The segment doesn't start by the phone ringing and going, "Oh, hi Patrick, it's me." You get the idea, but that's what it's suggesting. Because I'm trying to paint a picture of. Does she really like Chris Dickinson, or is she just stringing him along because Patrick Clark's telling him to? That's obviously the storyline, but yeah, well, it's still a bit of a grey area at the minute. Okay, and then on to our recurring angle that we've had once a month for the last few months now. It's the host angle, and it's the which one is it now? I need to pick host. Host gets talked about. Host responds to guest talk. Yeah, that's that one, isn't it? So it's the host angle. It's not. It's Maki Itoh's concert slam. I haven't got a name for this. Maki's musical medleys. I don't know. Something like that. So Maki Itoh. So she's in the ring. She starts singing. She'll make a joke about Mina Shirakawa. She'll say, "Oh, this." She'll say something like, "Oh, this next song's for you, Chris," or something like that. Then she'll start singing atrociously, get interrupted, and she's interrupted by, and a bit of a spoiler for this, Sayori Anu, I don't know how to say her name, I do apologise. But yeah, if you don't know who Sayori Anu is, then I don't blame you. But she's a Joshi wrestler, obviously. She is a member of Cosmic Angels in Stardom, and Cosmic Angels is the stable, apart from it being the greatest name for a stable faction, we're going to call it, of all time. It is, and that's not irony, I genuinely mean that. It is the stable that Mina Shirakawa was a member of when she was a member of. She was in Stardom. Well, she's been in a few stables, but that was one of them. So Sayori Anu's kind of coming to stand up for a friend. It's not really stand up for a friend, but there's a link there. I mean, you need to be a bit of a nerd to know that, but I'm sure there's some people out there that would. So, having said that, I don't know if they were ever in Cosmic Angels at the same time. Thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. But let's just pretend that they were. So, that's the point there. So she comes out. Again, it's the usual stuff. So, Ito's singing's atrocious. Anu comes out to tell her the singing's atrocious, and then Itoh attacks her with a microphone. And then more talking in the next segment. So again, I feel like this build for this event's just gone on forever, but I think it's because it's got a lot of rivalries that have been going on a while, and it's just kind of rolling it forward. And this is another one. I think this rivalry does need to end. So it's the Titan, and he's just slagging Omos off. So Omos is in the main event tonight. So the interviewer would just say, "Oh, you beat Jimmy Havoc a couple of weeks ago, and now it's Omos. Omos wants to show what he can do. Are you going to be watching his match with Jervis Cottonbelly he's taking on?" And Adam Scherr would just criticise him and say, "Well, I don't need to. I don't know. I don't need to watch it. He needs to be scared of me." You get the idea. He'll think of something cool to say. That's why I hire writers, because they can think of things that I can't. And then yet another angle, and it's going to be. It'll be a call out. Yeah, we'll do a call out on Brawl. And I'm not quite sure how I set these ones. Anyway, it's going to be Shark Boy and EC3. So again, Shark Boy, he'd storm after the interaction with Sean Morley. He'd storm back out. You'd see the commentator. They'd be talking to the camera, saying, "Oh well, Adam Scherr, they're giving his thoughts on Omos's match with Jarvis Cottonbelly, which is coming up next." So Adnan Verka turned to him and said, "Oh, EC3, I think this match is going to go." And well, Omos obviously big dude. I mean, I can't see Jarvis Cottonbelly getting much offense, and I think he's going to. And then as he's talking, Shark Boy comes. Again, it's supposed to be real. It's not, obviously it's not. It's a work shoot, bro. But Shark Boy comes storming out. Adnan alerts EC3 to him. EC3 just shakes his head, refuses to interact with him, and then again do the old knock the headset off and have a fight. Basically what Ethan Page did, essentially. The similar sort of thing, and Shark Boy eventually gets dragged away. So then Adnan Verk calls this main event on his own. Or does he? Well, who knows? Possibly not, actually. We'll say that EC3, he keeps getting confronted, but he's still refusing to kind of get physical or to get too annoyed. He's refusing to not really giving much emotion away. So even though we've had Ethan Page coming in here and there, confronting him. He had that altercation with Adam Scherr, and now it's Shark Boy's in his face, but he's still not. He's remaining steadfast, if you like, in his sort of nonplusness, if that's the right way of putting it. Probably not. Anywho, hardcore match time. And it's Omos versus Jervis Cottonbelly. So Jervis Cottonbelly also works for CZW on here, so he'll be used to the hardcore environment, if you like. I'm not expecting much from this match, but of course Omos is going to win. And he's going to win cleanly. We'll have no aftermath. And it is to build to a future match, but not between those two. Okay, so that is Disruption. So let's go, of course, 60% we're aiming for. At least, I think we should be able to get that with these. Good. Sean Morley getting some openness, which is nice. I need to check his gimmick actually. I'm starting to think I hope he's a heel. I think he is. Yeah, I mean, basically his gimmick is himself. So he comes out and says controversial things. But then EC3, I probably should have said this actually, but EC3 in his maybe in that interaction with Sharkboy would say, well, you know, this is control your narrative. People, you know, it's a platform for people to have their opinions. Anyway, we'll worry about that further down the line. It's not a wonderful pistol. That was a good match. Better than I was expecting, so that's good. Although again, the overalls should have been higher, so we're going to suffer a little bit here. Because if you look at the overall's not an average of crowd reaction and match quality like it sometimes. I've said this before, but it is inconsistent how it works out the overall rating. Most of the time, it's just an average. So that should be 63% really, rather than 56. But Celavi, you see again that should have been better. Good, that's what we need. All these overness that she's gaining from these angles, which is excellent stuff. That's also good. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And that's could have been better, I suppose. You see that overall rating is lower than the crowd reaction and the match quality, so it's barely an average because it's lower. 61% would have been higher if the matches would have been better, but not much I can do about that, sadly. Right, just the actual go home show to go. Go home to go. 170 people, so the attendance is going up, which is obviously good. That's what we want. Great, you haven't debuted yet, so that's that spoiled. Although to be fair, you would have seen him earlier. Yeah, I hired a guy called the Whisper because I thought his stats looked good, and I thought that's a good name. There's something we can do with that. So he will be debuting soon. Yes, we know, but not yet. Will he debut against Jake Atlas? We shall see. Whisper it quietly, but we've got a new wrestler coming. Okay, After Dark, here we go. The go home show. Not much to book here, to be honest with you. There's only 5 segments, but as I keep saying, it's Final Command tomorrow on a Friday, and we'll kick things off with a hype package. And it's going to be for a stable, but it's not quite going to be for a stable. So what it's going to be here is, featuring Patrick Clark. So what's going to happen here? The show would start, the video package would flash up, and it'd be Patrick Clark sat in like a ostentatious throne. Mandy Rose stood next to him, again not wearing a lot of clothes, or maybe even doing the palm leaf fan thing. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, she'll be doing something, or putting grapes into his mouth or something when he he'll do his promo, then he'll stop his promo and say grape, and Mandy Rose will put a grape in his mouth, then he carried on doing his promo. But basically what he's going to say is, something like, I've been watching from afar, and I think Mina needs checking in. We need to check in with Mina. We've not seen her for a few weeks, so at Final Command we're just going to pop in and say hi. So we does that thing that heels do when they make a ominous threat, but by being nice. So he'll say something like I said, he'll say something like, "Oh, we're just going to pop in for a chat. We want to catch up with our friend Mina. We've not seen her for a few weeks, and it'd be good to get acquainted with some of the friends that she's making." So in other words, we're going to come and beat Chris Dickinson up. That's what he actually means. But he'll say it in a nice way again, because they're trying to paint himself as, we're not the bad guys here. We're just we've been blacklisted and it's not fair. So yeah, so he basically says we're going to turn up at Final Command. That's essentially the point of that. So tune in, or buy the event, or turn up, buy a ticket, whatever, because if you do, you'll get to see us. And then say his name and he appears. It's a match between Joe Hendry and Brian Johnson, just to because why not? That's literally the only reason this match is happening, because why not? We'll give Joe the win, give the feel-good win. And because Brian Johnson always loses, we'll keep that trend going. And then we're going to double down on... I don't keep saying "and then." I need to find a new way to introduce the next segment. We'll double down on Sean Morley. So we'll give an interview targeting Sharkboy. And that's to hype their match at Final Command. So again, he'll say something controversial. I don't know what his opinions are on certain things. I think he's an advocate of substance use, should we put it, and one or two other bits and pieces probably that I don't know if he's I don't know if he's too fond of minority groups, but I could be totally wrong on that. I don't really, yeah. So don't sue me, Sean. I've got no money, so I've got no subscribers. I've got no money, so please don't sue me. But yeah, he'll give his opinion about whatever politics or whatever he wants to give his opinion about, and then again build it up to that match with Shark Boy. Then we're gonna have yet another video package, the final video package before the Adam Scherr Omos thing that's happening. It's the video package. So I'm not going to put Omos in this video package though. It's going to be Adam Scherr. I should have gone Adam Scherr. I meant to say that. I was doing that as a running joke, the Daddy Cool thing, but I've kind of killed it off already. Anyway, yeah. So it's going to be Adam Scherr. And I'll pick Matt Raywalt because it's Omos as manager, but it would actually be Omos. But because Matt Raywalt's charisma's higher, it'll get a better rating. So, yeah, you get the idea. And the last of all, the main event is going to be another tag team match player. And they're going to do that joke every episode. So it's going to be Chuck O'Neill. I forgot about this. Chuck O'Neill and Shark Boy. So I suppose again at the start of the episode there'd be a video. They put the graphic on the screen, and easy to be like, well, you know, Shark Boy wants to attack me. Well, I'll stick him in a tag team match the day before his match with Sean Morley. So Chuck O'Neill and Shark Boy, and they're going to take on the team of Gable Steveson and the guy that beat Chuck O'Neill last week, Viano 4. And this match is going to end with Chuck O'Neill winning over Viano 4, but it's going to be by DQ. So essentially this match would just end up being... This match wouldn't go very long, and it just end up being a big brawl. Again, just to build up to the Steveson and Chuck O'Neill thing, and... Yeah, just be a giant brawl, basically. You know, they just start hitting each other with weapons, and... Yeah, the show would end in chaos. They'd brawl to the back. If I can pick that, yes I can. And that's how the show would go off the air, just... a lot of chaos, and the final build to Final Command. Right, let's go. Can we get 60% here? I'm less confident here than I was for Disruption, but let's see. Oh, that was good. Oh, more overness for Mina. That's good. Excellent stuff. I mean, really, she wouldn't actually be in that video. It'd just be Patrick and Mandy. But hey ho, that was a good match. And again, see the rating. See, that's an average. That's what I was saying earlier. That's the opposite of what happened earlier. So that's good. That'll help this show get a better rating. Don't know why it's so inconsistent. Good. That's fine. Good. And good. What was I worried about? We're going to be way over 60%. Pushing towards 70. So excellent stuff there. I need to decide what to do now about Disruption, because I think if I don't renew the final After Dark here, because if I don't renew the contract's going to end, which means we're going to go down to one show a week, which is fine, maybe till the end of the month. But then I'd need to get a new TV deal at the end of the month, because we can't make money on one show a month. We need that. We need two shows, and also it helps the public image as well. So we really do need to have a look at that. Well, EC3, you don't want to fight anybody at the minute, do you, buddy? So, but you sent me the same email twice, so I may. I say he doesn't want to fight anybody. I don't want him to fight anybody at the minute. That's why I'm sticking him on commentary, and he's been nonplussed about these people confronting him, because we've still got. So Ethan Page, he's disappeared for a little bit, so we need to possibly look to bring him back. Attendance slightly down for After Dark. It is a shorter show though, so maybe people don't want to come out for it. I don't know, but anyway, that is the end of the build to Final Command, which is taking place today, which is going to be taking place, there you go, 18th of April. It's going to be taking place in the next video. So in the next video, we're going to be booking that show and then booking the Fallout, which I haven't quite decided what's going to be yet, but I've got plans in mind, just haven't actually written them out properly yet. So yeah, so Final Command coming up in the next video. But that is it for this video. So if you enjoyed this video, then please like and share the video. You can also leave a comment on this video should you choose to do that. While you're here on YouTube, if you head on over to the channel, The Uncommentator, you will find the rest of the videos in this playlist. So if you want to see how I've got to this point, then that is all available to you. You'll also find a myriad of other games that I've played through. If you like this series, then I've also done another series of this game where I booked PWG. I've also done, if you like wrestling, I've done WWE Crush Hour, played through that, so please go and check that out. If you don't like wrestling, then I'm not quite sure why you are watching this and listening to me right now, but if that is the case, then there's plenty of non-wrestling content available for you to enjoy, including Pokemon, including Kirby, including some train racing, all sorts of crazy stuff going on the channel. But join me next time, we're going to be moving on to Final Command, and then the fallout from Final Command. We're talking to that point. For now, from me, or moi, it is sayonara.